Welcome, everybody, to Generation Dan, the podcast that looked terrible for 20, but looks okay for 30. I'm Atlas. I'm your millennial. Who else is here with me?
I'm Gino the Genetic Marvel, and I am living my best life, everybody. That is just how things are these days. Okay, I find it hilarious, just to give a little bit of behind the scenes before we proceed with our topic for today. Atlas, I was saying how he's in great shape, but rather than accept the compliment, he's like, well, technically what I did was I stayed in the same shape but right into my 30s. So as a 30-year-old, I'm in great shape. If you reverse it, no, I'm just a frumpy 20-year-old, which I'm like, that's not like, okay, that is hilarious, but also completely not true.
Well, okay, I only say that because yesterday I went to my nephew's joint, their birthdays are 2 weeks apart. So usually the birthday party is both of them together. So all their friends are in my brother-in-law's backyard, and they had water guns and water balloons and stuff. And
how old are the kids?
9 and 7.
Okay, so they have about 2 more years of that, and then it's gonna go absolutely fucking mental.
Yeah. But I they're like, adults, get in there, make sure kids don't cry, that sort of thing. So
absolutely not. Make sure that everyone cries. Everyone.
I like water balloon fights and stuff. So I was in there, and I was just out of breath by 45 seconds in, a minute in.
Okay, so this is something that I'm going through right now. Is that I'm we've discussed this before. Is I am in the best shape of my life. However, I am not in good shape. Yeah. Right? So it's I'm still a potato, but
compared
top
to
of the line. Yeah. Before I was just a hunk of shit. So now I'm like, listen, I'm in a situation where this is definitely a difficult transition, but I'm like, I can do stuff that I've never been able to do, period. So right now I'm practicing how to, okay, so I don't know how else to describe this, but it's like a Chinese guy squat, where he just squats down. It looks like he's gonna take a shit, but he's just squatting just because it's comfortable. I'm like, I can do that now. And I'm like, I do it for about 60 seconds. I try and do it at least once a day. And I just slowly am getting more and more comfortable with it. I'm like, that's a flexibility to that is very much communicative to your body's health. And a lot of people don't realize that. So Kyle, okay, hilariously, he's been, okay, I don't know how this is going to sound super weird. There's been a lot of times where he ends up on the ground when we've been hanging out together. Don't ask. But every time I reach out, he's like, no, I want to get out. So he makes sure not to use his hands, but just gets up from the ground without putting his hands down or anything, which is a huge deal to your body health. And even now they've been saying the bigger your legs are in life, the longer or better quality of life you'll have later on. Just because
I have huge legs, so that fits.
Yeah, so walking, swimming, biking, all those things. And even now we went hiking 2 weeks ago, which so hiking, number one,
does not sound like up your alley, I'll be honest.
So I didn't dislike it. Okay. I didn't dislike it, but it was a little too mountainous for me. I'm like, I prefer walking. Walking is my comfort zone. But walking with a slight incline, a slight decline, maybe, somewhere to sit and ponder. These are good things for me. Yeah. But when you go into huge forests and you're walking up and down hills, going down, going back up, and and I'm like, I'm okay, but at the same time, I complained the entire time, hilariously, I was cracking mad jokes. So everyone was laughing, but also they're like, man, you really don't like this. I'm like, honestly, I don't really care.
You're like, this isn't walking, this is traversing. Fuck all of you.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, we built society so we wouldn't have to do this shit anymore, right? So it's like it's the whole idea where people are like, let's go camping. I'm like, no, let's just go get a cabin because camping sucks. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm old. Like, listen, right now I can probably lie down flat on the ground and sleep for the night with no problem, right? Like,
okay.
the weight that I've lost, I no longer snore. I no longer have a sleep apnea. I know a lot of things. I no longer have hair. That's fine though too.
Yeah.
So that's all right. It just means I have more testosterone, so that's fine.
Yes.
And you know what? My wiener has been the longest it's ever been, so I'm good. It's fine. It's for every 35 pounds you lose, you gain an inch of wiener. That is just science. That is science. That's what the experiment said, and I'll tell you, it's the goddamn truth. So
Dino's like that. Dino's Jonah Hill's character in Accepted, where he's walking around going, "Ask me about my wiener."
Listen, my goal for this summer is to have a flat stomach, and there's a good chance I'll be able to get it. But at the same time, yeah, like so, all it is you have to eat regularly, also do some fasting, also try and have a higher than average protein diet, but you still have like a lot of vegetables and stuff. Like, it works.
All right, nice. Oh,
but also I just started working out, so I'm like, everything is getting bigger, and I'm like, yeah, like I started practicing roundhouse kicks only because I can.
Okay.
Right. And yeah, I can actually roundhouse kicks probably somebody to the throat. I'm not sure I could get the face.
I love the idea of. Did you ever see Step Brothers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know when they like first become friends and they're like, "Do you want to go do karate in the garage?" Like that's what I'm imagining. You're like
100%.
kicking holes in pumpkins and shit.
That's
Victoria
exactly.
is like, are you gonna come to bed ever? And you're like, karate in the garage, woman.
Yeah, you're gonna get a front like Ken. You listen, sir. If only my as my fupa subsides, the wiener's only getting bigger. So it's exciting. I think it's exciting. But that's the thing is like my quality of life has gone up tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, I don't know. Like I need to go the distance. I think it's very perplexed. It's a very weird time because I'm also
all right, Hercules. You go the distance.
I'm turning 44. Like I'm not a young guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So like it's a lot. I don't know. Listen. So all that being said, let's be honest. We are here specifically to celebrate the conclusion of your first year of an experiment. That's an
experiment. Yeah.
I 100% was going to ask you about karate and the garage. I mean, it's like you can call me Dragon, okay?
Yeah.
Just no. That's...
I'm not going to call you Dragon.
See, this is my concern has always been like I'm gonna turn around and like if I ever have an actual professional career again, I might go by Constantine just to fuck with people.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Because I won't respond.
Well, no, because like talking to other teachers, most of their like what they go by at school. Obviously, it's their Miss, Mr. their last name, but. And then they're like online social handle. I am not HUD is something different, and I just don't do that because I'm a comedian. Unless I were to like go by a different stage name or something, and then change all the handles for it, and it's like I kind of don't care all that much.
Well, but you don't. You also you okay. So this is going to sound like it's being condescending, but it's not. Like you walk the walk. Like you don't. You try and make jokes without actually being offensive to people. You don't talk. You don't talk poorly about people. You're not looking to aggravate people. You're looking to make people ponder in hilarity.
Yes,
most
of the deprecation is me and
exactly
beat you to it.
So and that's the funny thing is that like for me, whatever I say on stage or here, just to be very clear. I will happily say to your face, whoever the fuck you are, and here's my finger, eat shit and die. Don't care. That's
yeah.
because someone's like, oh, well, we don't really like what you say online. That's fine. You don't have to watch, dipshit. Like, well, but we don't want anyone to watch. I'm like, that's called censorship, and I'll punch you in the throat. What are you gonna do about it? Right? Like, it's just not what I enjoy right now, Atlas, is we're kind of at a breaking point where people are fed up with being policed.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like set to explode. And I'm like, I'm kind of sad that I'm not at fighting age, but at the same time, I look forward to a motherfucker trying because I am training, motherfucker. Like, I will definitely break someone's face. Like, I have no problem with it. So, there's a good thing and a bad thing with the whole fall of Western society as we're experiencing it. But, it's interesting, at least. So.
Yeah. So at the time of recording this is the weekend before the last day of school is Tuesday. And I can't believe I made it through. I'll be honest. Like, I keep seeing memes about like people who quit in the middle of the year or whatever. I'm like, this should not have gone this well.
Does that happen? So now that you're in the know, does that happen often? Did anyone not make it the year? Like,
okay. So the only like kind of example of that was we had a life skills teacher. So it's like how to make a budget, shit like that. Like, stuff you should know in real life.
A pretend adult, gotcha, yeah.
Kinda, yeah. No, but like he was teaching kids about that and like
sure,
help the counseling department and all that. Anyway, so he was there first semester, and then we came back from Christmas, and we're like, what happened? Where'd he go? And then the principal was like, oh yeah, he retired and didn't want to tell anyone. So he like Irish goodbyed the profession, and I'm like, I kind of love that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that it's very like smoke bomb, and I'm out. Like, which, that's.
But he didn't like get fed up and walk out in the middle of the day or something. He was just like, okay,
he's just like, I'm out later. Yeah. Well, there's something to be said about that. I feel like that's especially in a day and age where people just don't retire. Like they just stop working because if they stop working, they're gonna die. So they're just like, oh, well, I just have no choice. And you're like,
he was like early 60s. He was like at retirement age,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So good for you, Mr. Not going to say your name, but you know who you are if you happen to come across this. Now, funnily enough, I just like I thought I would take the time for us to just kind of reflect on me getting through this first year, but also we're about to have 150 episodes of Generation Dan.
I know, that's pretty terrifying, sir.
I know, and like for the people who the Aspen Chronicles episodes have been polarizing. I've noticed that some of our fan base are like, yes, Atlas's dad doing cocaine in the 70s, and the other half are like, who the fuck is that? I don't care. You guys are disgusting, and like, fine,
absolutely accurate. Those are both valid and factual opinions. Yeah. I can't say they're not. Yeah,
but at the same
time, what a fucking time to be alive.
Yeah. Wow. Like part of the reason I wanted to do it was he told me those stories with more detail as I got older. So at the age that I would ask him about, he would be like, oh, you're 7, I'm going to tell it this way. Oh, you're 12, I'm going to tell it this way. Oh, you're 22, now I can tell you about the mushrooms, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah. well, that's like, listen, that's the smartest thing that a father can do is like, okay, listen, like Tom Segura does that for his dad, where his dad was like, he goes, hey, you served in war. He goes, yeah, technically. And because he was a little kid, he's like, did you ever kill me? He's like, it wasn't like that. I was a lieutenant. It's not the same. Then he was like, did you ever? He's like, nah. He goes, I was different. I was far away. It wasn't the same. He goes, did you ever do that? He goes, yeah, I threw some bombs in bunkers. And he's like, what the fuck did you just say? He's like, yeah. And then when he asked him, like, as an adult, he's like, there is no better feeling than taking the life from your enemy. You're like, what the fuck? Like, that is an aggressive change in direction from where we started, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, that's the thing is like, you can't, like, you have those years in the beginning, right, where you try and teach them how to be a good person. Mm-hmm. And then they have to go through puberty, which is a nightmare for everyone involved, all parties involved.
Put a pin in that because I
Yeah.
have a follow up to that. But keep going. Yeah.
But the idea is that like you just hope that they'll come back to being an adult and not be a piece of shit, right? Like I can hang out with my kids. Why? Because they're not bad people. They're a little bit stupid, but they're just young. So, you know, that's the best you can that's the best you can hope for, right? And that's why like when they're going through puberty and you're like, hey, don't hang out with those people, dipshit. No, those are bad people for you. And they're like, oh, they're my friends. Like, no, they're not. They're just taking advantage of you, idiot. You know, and then you're the bad guy. But like that's the thing is like that's where community helps and you know all those kind of things. But what are you gonna do? But you have a story about puberty or puberty and the hell that it is for everybody. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, by the way.
Yeah, my half brother is about to get there, and I was on the phone with my dad the other night. He's like, "Yeah, I think he's about to start like,
yeah."
And I was like, "Dad, what did we learn from last time?" And he goes,
knock.
Well, I don't know what. Yeah, I'm like, knock. Wait for the answer, then enter. And he goes, "Does that?" I'm like, "Yes, it does." Do like you made that mistake with me. Do not fuck it up twice.
This is the thing: is that puberty at the best of times is rough. Okay.
Yeah.
With all the good things, like listen, you having siblings, good family support, both parents in your lives, everyone having like jobs, like all the good things can happen. And puberty is still a complete and utter fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
okay?
like there's a reason Inside Out 2 is happening because both of her parents are employed and they live in San Francisco, and she's about to like go crazy because puberty is happening.
Yeah. Like that's the thing is like I try and explain this to people where I'm like, it's not that everyone's trying to hold you back from your becoming an adult and everything. We allow the kids to do that still. I mean, with force, sir, with force.
It's not like the kids are happy to go through it. They're not like, yes, puberty. They're like, what the fuck? I don't understand these feelings. Why is emo music good all of a sudden? You know, like
but that's the thing is, listen, you can like it's so hard trying to navigate that thing, and then you have people who are just trying to take advantage constantly, and you're like, bro, you get taken advantage of and you try and learn from it, but sometimes you're just stupid. And then there are girls as well, which girls,
the Andrew Tates of the world, not the girls part, the taking.
I mean, and listen, and that's the thing is like the weird part about Andrew Tate is that there is a certain part of life that is an important thing to understand too, right? That you have to like. If you have to defend your family physically, that is a very traumatic thing to deal with as a man. But at the same time, you don't want to be doing that on a daily basis. That's stupid. That's not a life. That is ridiculous, right? And people are like, "Well, I'm tough all the time." You're like, "You're a jackass." That's what you are all the time, right? So there's more to it, but that's the thing is that is a component about being a man, and you know, and realistically, listen, being a man has changed from me being a man to you being a man, right?
Probably.
And like, and let's be honest, that's why I'm like, it's even different. Like I see Cole, I see you, and I'm like, oh, you guys are young, you're not men, but that's okay, right? But that's the thing is, for you guys, you're like, yeah, we're men, and I'm like, no, you're not men, right? But it's different, right?
There's like some truth to that, some not truth, because like I don't know, talking to my mom where she's like, hey, can you like translate slang for me that I heard like clients' kids. I'm like, Mom, you got maybe 2 more years of that, and then I'm not a good source anymore.
Yeah.
Is no less a character than Dice Clay.
Exactly.
Well, Dice Clay didn't get about to get arrested and then flee to Romania. And
I mean,
found in Romania. Dice Clay didn't do that, at least.
He could have, though. That shit could have happened, right? Like, if the cops were better in California, he might have. Let's be honest. So
maybe. There's a reason that the LA riots happened. But like, I mean,
right?
So with all that in mind, it's just like, dude, I don't know. I stuck on something and then got lost after. Sorry.
It's the idea of
Oh, right.
You're losing your youth, and like you're not going to be able to translate. Listen, does your mom wear glasses?
She does. Yeah.
She does.
Not like to see like reading glasses.
Yeah. So she'll have the little ones, right? Like that's right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like there will be a time, like because you don't wear glasses, you don't wear any.
No.
Right.
Katie is excited for the day that I need reading glasses, and I know
100%.
That
is your final evolution there, Pokemon Atlas Novak. Like that's just like that will be the final thing where you're like, it'll happen. You're like, and everything will change. You'll be like, I am an old man Atlas now, and I am wise beyond my years.
I keep saying on this show that I am going to be a better old person than I was a young person.
Oh, well, I'm only getting better looking as I get older, which I'm like, this has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we said before, so before the show started, where I said that I'm a schlubby 20, but I'm a good looking 30. And
yeah, I mean, listen.
Same principle, yeah.
I recently saw a picture of a guy that I went to school with, like when I was in high school with.
Yeah.
And he was like probably 2, maybe even 3 years younger than me. Okay. And he looked so old, man.
Really?
He's like, he was bald, gray hair, like, and I was like, that guy looks way older than I do. Like, he looks rough.
But like, and I'm like even Greg versus my dad. Like, Greg doesn't have Parkinson's eating away at him, and thus looks a lot better.
Oh yeah, you know? yeah. But like, that's why I'm just kind of like, it's so weird to see people age, where you're like, I remember seeing that guy, like, he looked young to me when I was like graduating, and he was like in grade 10, I think, maybe grade, probably grade 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you're like a child to me. And now looking at him, I'm like, bro, you look like an old man. What the fuck? You know, it's very weird how I'm seeing people age around me. It's, I don't know. Because like, even still, like, I look like an old man, but I'm like, I kind of, if I shave my beard, I'm gonna lose like 15 years of how old I look. Like, it's just
that's usually how it is. Because like, I had a wicked baby face, so like without the beard, I look much younger and awkward, and it's better to just like keep it around.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We saw with the Bob costume back in October. Like,
I mean, bro, like, it's. You know what though? You having a mustache is growing on me, but you need to have like a proper, like, over, like something. A good, not even up, but it just has to come over like a little bit longer than your lips, and you're good. Like, that's a good look. If you stop it right at your like this, you look like a pervert.
Yeah,
right?
it's you need go in.
Yeah, you need like just a little extra. But like, that's the thing is, like, now I'm enjoying my hair, and I'm just gonna continue just to shave my head fairly like trimmed, and I'm just like, all right, like, okay, I don't have any hair, all right. It's one thing that Kyle gets to lord over me consistently. He's just like,
hair.
Well, he has long beautiful hair, and I have nothing on the top of my head. That's basically,
he'll probably die before you or something.
I mean, yeah, well, that's for sure. Probably by his own hand, but yeah, he's a Great Dane, so yeah, that's just,
and that's not talking about unaliving, by the way. That's just like he'll bundle himself to death somehow.
I mean, like, it's definitely like a crazy series of events that would just unfold. I age like a god. Yeah,
Ozymandias, that kind of god.
I mean, it's the weirdest thing to watch people, like, even every time, like, I go back to Greece, like, I have memories of cousins, but I'm like, I only see them, like, for a while I would see them every year.
Yeah.
And there was a couple times I saw them multiple times a year, which was wild. Like, that was spent a lot of money. But like,
that's not about the trip itself. That's just how much money you spent. That's funny.
Yeah. No, it's but like, when you see people age, because like I haven't seen them for like a few years, and then I hadn't seen them for 5 years. We finally went back. I brought Victoria for our honeymoon. I wanted to go back in 2020, and then COVID happened, and no travel, and I was like, fuck, right?
That is a rough
And then sure enough, shortly after that, now it's a few years later, I have no money, and I'm like, fuck, I really want to go back to Greece, right? But then also, like, all my cousins are like all just getting older, right? It's weird. And hilariously, like, a lot of my nieces and nephews are the ones that are the same age as me. It's like my cousin's kids. Which, what would you guys call that? That's your second cousin?
If it's your first cousin's kids, it's your second cousin, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They're my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
honestly, I might as well just call my like half brother and sister either cousins or niece and nephew, because like it doesn't feel like siblings,
like, what this is the thing is, when they're adults, you're gonna be my age.
Yeah, so the older one's 14. So in 4 years I'll be in my mid-30s. Like,
yeah. But I mean, like, no, he's got to be like 25 when you actually want to talk to him, right?
Oh,
like,
that's what you mean. Okay, so in like 13 years, yeah, I'll be about 43, 44.
And yeah, definitely not by my own hand. Yeah. But yeah, like, it gets weird, right? Like, like, I remember, bro. So I have one cousin's son who looked like a model. I saw he was working construction. I looked at him, like, he's got blonde hair, blue eyes, olive skin, beautiful kid. Okay. But he's also like 6 foot. And I'm just like, and he's like, oh yeah, I work construction. I'm like, okay, just get out, just go to a modeling agency, something. Just go, just trust me. He's like, nah, I got fields at home to till. And I'm like, oh, God damn, I really hope he started modeling or something, because
I got fields at home to till. Jesus.
Yeah, well, they're farmers, right? So
right. No, I got that. I just like, I don't know, it just sounds very
yeah. They're like, oh yeah, I have tobacco to harvest. What do you like? Leave me alone. Like, you're like, oh, you could be famous, and they're like, why would I want that? I have farm shit to do. You're just like,
what's funny? Yeah. He's like, with all the sun beating down on him, with all that stuff, he's still like hot, right?
Oh yeah. That's the thing is, like, nothing builds a body like farm work. I'll tell you that flat out.
Oh no, he'll be cut. I just more mean the like sun damage.
Oh, hey, weirdly enough, there's a lot of weird shit where you're just like, people that kind of grow up in the sun don't have those same problems. It's really weird. But also too, like, after all is said and done, that's the best part, is that, like, I would go back to my village where my house is, and it's like, when I was newly divorced, they're like, are we setting you up with people? And I'm like, well, no, man, let's just calm down. Let's just relax. And everybody just, and like, people would just come over and just like, oh, hi, I thought I would visit. Hi, nice to meet you. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But I'm like, all these women where I'm like, gorgeous, and also like, farm built bodies. And I'm just like, hey man. And they're like, oh, you're newly divorced and Canadian and you work at a bank. Really? And I'm like, oh God. This has got bad news written all over it.
Yeah.
Kyle says, I want the fame to consume and destroy me. Sounds like fun. I mean, Saturday night, right? Like, just what?
Last week was the senior picnic, and because most of my classes are seniors, it would just be me sitting alone in my classroom if I didn't go chaperone. So I went with them to the park nearby the school.
Did you catch anyone with booze?
No. So it wasn't like the prom, but the fun part was, like, it was overcast when we're walking over there. I'm like, I will get sunburned if the sun comes out. And then the sun started coming out. I was like, okay, you sit in the shade, you stay, like, just make sure no one, gets hurt. And they're like, hey, can you chaperone? Can you, like, go check on the volleyball game? And I go over there and there's not a goddamn tree or anything in sight. So I'm just like, fuck. So I just had to sit there and take it like a man while they played volleyball, and I was just red for the rest of that week. They got back and they're like, mister, you burned. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you look like this.
Having met you in person, Atlas, it's true. I should tell people that he's almost clear.
I'm very
so
pale,
white. Yeah.
And like it mostly comes from like growing up, my dad, who was also a indoorsy person, was like, "Put on
Yeah.
fucking sunscreen or I will kill you." Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, and I just, didn't like going outside a lot, and I was a nerd and a gamer, and so you just didn't do that all that much. Atlas's English career already
Right.
1 year old, another day, another slate. Thank
Right.
you,
I
Taro.
mean,
Um,
no, like that is the one thing. Like, so it's been a year, and realistically, you had your reservations about the whole thing because you're just like, really, me as a teacher, like you weren't 100% sure, but you're like, you know what, it's an opportunity, might as well go for it, right?
yeah.
So how do you feel?
Well, now that it's been a year and I've like bonded with these kids that are now going off to college,
Yeah,
part of me is like like I helped do that. um,
that's fair.
and I did I read the note to you guys? I showed you guys the note
No,
that one of my students gave me.
no.
Um, so one of my students like bumped into me in the hall and like shoved this folded up piece of paper in my hand and kept walking.
That sounds like a lawsuit, but okay, go on.
Not like a lawsuit, but just like this is how that's like the first act of like a spy thriller where it's like, oh, I've been undercover this whole time. And one of the
Exactly.
teachers is getting involved. New reality show idea: Gingers in the desert. That's how we die, Kyle. That's how we die. Like Survivor would be society. Is he like the people in South Park where he's like racist toward gingers? I'm not even a ginger. I'm a daywalker. All right, I'm a daywalker.
You are. That's true.
Yeah.
You are a daywalker. Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that. Obviously, not saying the kid's name.
Of course not. Yeah.
But the context is like they are LGBT and their parents aren't one of the parents is supportive of that.
Yeah.
So there's like a weird dance that the teachers had to do where in front of the parent you had to pretend like you were dead naming them, but to the kid you obviously wanted to like call them the name they wanted to be called by. Okay, so the note says, Dear Mr. Novak, as you probably may or may not know, I don't have the best relationship with my dad. I never had any good male role models, and as I explore my identity and figure out what it means to me to be a man, I want to say that you're the man I want to become one day. Kind, funny, and always supportive. These are the traits I look up to you for. I'm very honored to be in your class, and I only wish the best for you. Love, student's name. P.S. I wish I also get a sweet-ass beard.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is now framed.
100%. You should frame that
on my desk. Whoop.
Yeah. That's yeah, absolutely. You definitely should. Wow, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. But also too, that's a high bar for your first year there, bro. That's
like as far as the like navigating the school and like dealing with parents and stuff, the only real blunder was the slang project and the kids like talking about the history of the C word as the other teachers came in. That's the only real mess up that I had, which is pretty good, I'd say.
I think was like a hilarious mess up because realistically, there was only one way that was going down, and it went down. And
I knew I was playing with fire. I knew it. Like I stand by my decision. But the compromise is no curse words next year. I'm like, all right, fine.
Okay, but that's like, realistically, that's fine. That is sweet. It's very sweet. Also, like, so, well, here's a question: are you going to be teaching the same grades next year?
So the principal didn't want us monopolizing the grades, so now they're split between two teachers. So I have freshmen and seniors with one other teacher, and then the other two English teachers have 10th and 11th split between them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I get what he's going for because like if there's a kid who doesn't like one teacher, they can switch to the other teacher because like this isn't a class you can like skip. It's a core class. Yeah. Honestly, knowing Atlas, he's so supportive. I wish I had him as an English teacher. Thank you, Zaro. And like Zaro, you kind of just know me from like these shows and the Nexus at Night Discord. So I don't know.
You are.
Yeah.
It's weird to me, but especially since like you're so damaged in some ways that like you actively work on it, which I'm like, I applaud you because like you should, like as an adult, like so it's like you have a very good perspective on your mental health. And that's I guess probably like just because you had to go, you were in therapy with your folks and everything, like you kind of like got all that knowledge and learning out done right out of the gate. So it's like, mental turmoil. I was born in this shit. Let's bring it on, you know?
You wouldn't last a day in the asylum I was raised in. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So which, you know, and basically that's the same stuff with like Victoria is an only child. She didn't really have to deal with siblings, right? Like she had cousins and she did live with those cousins for some time, but I'm like, it's still not the same as siblings, right?
Yeah, especially I think the siblings do the most like imprinting when you're like little, and it's the like
Definitely
learning how to share, learning how to read,
yeah,
stuff like learning how to walk around
yeah,
the
yeah.
sibling. I think once you hit like 6th grade, it all just kind of branches off for the most part.
Yeah.
You get into your own adventures.
Yeah, and that's part of just puberty as well, right? Like there's a whole thing where they're like they like psychologically that your body just starts looking at your parents so differently when it comes to puberty that they just don't understand. And you're like, and of course they understand. You're their children. Of like they of all people will understand the most of what you're going through, dummy.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing, is the idea behind that is to make sure that the family expands instead of becomes a individual branch going down. That's not good, right? Like
Now, if you're from the Habsburgs, you're doing both at the same time, so good for you.
I mean, you're trying to get this a lot and this, you know.
And like, okay.
Me.
So to answer all that question of like, how do I feel when I started the year being like, it's a gig. I don't know. I think I like it a lot. And though maybe I don't want to be an English teacher forever, maybe I don't want to switch to history. That the feels that note gave me and the interactions I had, even with like the movie classes where it was all 4 grades, the kids who wanted to be there and who had a good time with it, like it was a good time. I know it's not going to be like that every year. You know, you'll get butthole kids and you'll get this or that, but how is that any different from comedy? You get good crowds, you get bad crowds. 3 days into puberty, Tino had that beard and never looked back, probably.
Basically, yeah, it's definitely. If I showed half of the things I shared on the Nexus server to my parents, they would
probably
be disappointed with me. I mean, that's fair with, but you should see our chat between Atlas, myself, Kyle, and Cole. Same, yeah. That's not for everyone to see.
Need to do that, like, because we have all these shows between the 5 of us, or 5 of us, that it's so like disparate, all on these different channels. I need a like, this is how we all work. Go here thing, because otherwise it's going to be very confusing.
Yeah. At the same time, like it'd be great for us all to be under one channel, but at the same time, we're kind of all doing our own thing anyway. So
yeah, unless you just make a new channel and be like, post it here, post it there, post it here, post it there, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
If we want to. Yeah, so with all that in mind,
you feel good.
I feel good with it, and I feel like I couldn't do this for the rest of my life. And like, I was on Bobby Oliver's comedy festival last night, where I ran into Kelly Zimnikas, friend of the show, in person for the first time.
Yes.
Like, she saw me walking up the street and she's like, Atlas? I'm like, oh, Kelly! Holy shit! Like, it was funny. We never speak.
We never, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, but just like doing that, where it, like, I don't know, I just do stand up every now and again, and like I get the good chemicals from making people laugh. And
100%, yeah.
And you know, teach for a living, and like I'm doing an unequivocal good for society, and maybe I can help make the kids be good people into the society that they will one day be running. And like, I don't know, I did a lecture near the end of the term where it was like, okay, here's all the things I can't really talk about because it's not really curriculum related. So like,
Yeah.
hey, relationships, how to college, money, politics, shit like
Yeah.
that. And they seem to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are you an English major? Technically, yes. Creative writing was its own department at UC Riverside,
Yeah.
but like it's easier to just say English.
Yeah.
Because when you say creative writing, most colleges just have it under English. So that's that.
I mean, hey.
And like here we are about to get into the 150th episode of Generation Dan, which for people wondering, what are we going to do for that? It is going to be a barn burner.
I mean, yeah.
It's the completion of a trilogy, and it's a certain rodent person is going to be appearing for the first time. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And you'll see that next week.
Yeah. That is going to be one hell of a show. That's for sure.
I think so. And then even past that, like Kelly's coming back. Because you have to. I'm like, hey, good to see you again. Come back on, because I haven't talked to you in like over a year.
Absolutely.
She just like submitted a short film to the Seattle Film Festival.
Yeah.
That she directed. So that's pretty cool.
She does all sorts of wild shit.
Yeah. And then past that, like one of my coworkers from this school who is leaving and moving somewhere else. So therefore, it does not matter to her if she comes on the show.
Fantastic.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun time.
We're also going to get her to tell us the inside, the skinny on you as a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
What's everyone else saying about you?
Yeah, because she is an English teacher.
Too. She is an English teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to get some of the good stuff. Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh my God. I'm excited for next year because they hired a physics teacher named Koch, like the Koch brothers. And I'm like, okay, so there's a new chem teacher, and then they have the bio teachers. And now they have like a full science department where before they just had chem and bio. So should be an interesting setup for next year.
Interesting.
And then they like rearranged the whole school. So now English and history are on the bottom floor and Spanish. And then top floor is like math and STEM and all that.
Physics teacher.
A physics teacher. Yeah.
I mean,
I never took physics. I'm not good at math.
That's, you know what? That's the one thing that I'm like, your school didn't have a physics teacher?
It did. I just didn't take physics, like, for whatever reason.
Well, you don't have to, right?
I don't think so.
You just need to take basic math a couple times, and then you're...
Yeah. Like, I fumbled my way through Algebra 2 and moved on with my life. That was it.
You get it.
I love when my kids are like, can you help me with homework? I'm like, does it have numbers on it? And they're like, yes. I'm like, then I can't help you.
Which is, I feel like that's one of those things that very much humanizes you to your students, right?
What is just pretend, like, acknowledge that I suck at stuff, or like... Yeah.
Because people don't get that. So physics is a requirement for my school district or state. Really?
They're on the East Coast, though, so it might differ from California. Or hell, I graduated high school in 2012. It's been over a decade. It could have changed since then, you know?
I just had a mild stroke when you said 2012 was when you graduated. And I was like, oh, God. It's a long time after I graduated, sir.
I mean, the kids graduating high school right now were born in like 2006. They were like, my first year of life, Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz had come out.
They were born and I was going through my first divorce.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, that was a rough time.
I mean, I lived it. Trust me. Mm-hmm. It was. I agree with you. Okay, so here's the thing. So you really feel like you found a good balance between the teaching and the comedy and this stuff and everything? Like,
I think so. Like, comedy often goes by the wayside, but like,
yeah,
honestly, at this point, I have a good enough tape where I can just, like, I don't know, after school, be like, you booking? And they're like, we're booking. I'll be like, here's tape. And they're like, you're on. and then that's it. Like,
Huh?
um,
I mean, that's a good thing, right?
yeah.
They were born and I was learning how to toddler.
One of the other teachers, because we were talking about where were you on 9/11, and one of the other
Oh,
teachers was like, I was in a high chair. I'm like, don't fucking say anything like that to me again. You are a teacher.
how dare you,
Yeah.
Dino? Only divorce, not first. Fair point.
What does he
Fair
mean by
point.
that? Like, not first
Well,
marriage, or like?
Well, no. I've only been divorced once, not
Oh,
as opposed to the first of many.
oh,
So
gotcha.
that's
Only,
you know what?
that's what he means by only.
I'll be honest with you, Kyle. I said it, and I never knew what vocabulary to use instead, or what verbiage to use.
Mhm.
And so I appreciate you, Kyle, for giving me an alternative to say my only divorce going forward. Thank you. I appreciate you, sir. Also, I feel like I may be retarded in the fact that I can't speak English properly. But hey, I can speak Greek too. So whatever.
The like, um, like this year where I was allowed to teach a film study class because it's like under the,
Yeah.
Under my credential, and the principal goes, "Do you have any experience with movies?" And I was like, "My mom was the assistant editor on Bull Durham," and they're like, "Perfect, you're in." I'm like, "That's it? That's all you needed?" I'm like the LaCroix of movie experts. Like I've been vaguely near someone who's good at movies.
Perfect. Which means absolutely nothing. Like that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, but I just didn't realize, like, as a teacher, how, like, outside of the, or like even within the curriculum, just what you want to teach. Like, I had a unit on on like the baseball movie as a concept.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm sure. God damn it, Kyle.
That's 100% accurate. Because I'm not good with Greek grammar, so I speak in English but in Greek words, so my everything sounds backwards, like it doesn't sound
Okay.
right. And I've watched a movie, Job's Yours.
It's not wrong. Uh, I asked my mom, I asked my brother-in-law who went to film school, and they were like, "Okay, these are some suggestions," and I was like, "Great," and then it was off to the races.
Yeah.
But like doing a
Yeah.
baseball movie, that was my idea because like baseball as a concept just works good in films because you have the pitcher versus batter standoff thing that you don't really get with like basketball or football, where it's about like the characters going against each other. And then I get to do that again next year, just with a different movie.
Why not? Is LaCroix a millennial thing because my professor is a millennial and drinks that consistently?
I hate LaCroix or LaCroix or whatever you want to call it, but like, yeah, you tend to associate it with millennials, definitely. Just because like I love soda that much and it feels like a slap to the face where you're like, this is just, I don't know, somebody saying the word soda from the next room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's soda adjacent. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly, that was the one thing I remember when I did the crazy diet when I was 19, that you had to drink a bunch of water, but you could also drink as much caffeine-free Diet Coke as you wanted, as much as you want. And I'm like sometimes it was just the idea of like fizziness and like fake sugar that you were like, because it has nothing in it. Like it's basically just flavored water.
Call it what it is, sparkling water. Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
yeah,
it's like that with some lemon in it or whatever.
But that's the thing is you're going like if you do that, it can help subside a lot of
cravings or whatever.
Well, because listen, soda isn't good for you. Just
no, it's not.
Period. Just
the
not diet, regular. The sugar cane version you can get from Mexico, like
it's all garbage for you.
It's all not good for you. Like, and that's the thing is, it's the whole idea of drinking calories, is really a waste of that experience, right? Just add some margarita syrup.
Put up that comment. Add some margarita syrup, mix it, taste it. I have never done that before.
Why not?
Oh my god! Okay, like
it's just sparkling water.
Sure.
Like realistically, you can get a lot of syrups that are the basis for all the flavors, right? So you can get margarita syrup. Yeah, you're just gonna be There's a Mexican restaurant, Cantina, that's right by my house, and we get they do a watermelon daiquiri or watermelon mac. I'm not sure what the difference between a daiquiri and a margarita is, to be honest. So,
yeah,
that you know what I said it knowing full well that your crazy autistic brain is just going to be like, well, gonna have to answer that right now.
Shut the fuck up. It wasn't about that. It was just my curiosity. Like, I just have to know now.
Yeah.
If you're probably heard, at least if the act of simplifying these. Okay, shut up. I don't care about your life story. Okay, a margarita is often blended.
All right.
And a daiquiri is not blended. Not always, but often. Maybe it's a flavor thing. Like, oh, if it's this flavor, it's the I don't know. Don't know. Yeah.
Either way, you know, it's you can add like there's a lot of stuff that like you could just add fizzy water and it'll be delicious, right?
Yeah.
And you can add even are you kidding me? I have one friend that doesn't drink but is in a lot of situations where they are supposed to be drinking champagne or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll come personally to him and give him a glass of champagne. And I'm like, huh. He's like, what? I'm like, that's ginger ale. He's like, fuck you, man. I'm like, there's ginger ale, right? He goes, yeah. He's like, because he can't drink. He's like,
right.
He's like, no, I can't drink. So I'm just like, no, that's fair. I go, but you want to give off that vibe that you're out partying with everybody and everything. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I totally understand.
Yeah.
Because also too, when you pretend to be just one of the guys, people get loose lips, and those loose lips get you the information you always need. A popular Mexican drink to order at the shores is quite literally a mixture of lime margarita mix, lime juice, maybe mint, sparkling water, boom, refreshing. Absolutely.
That just sounds like a mojito, kind of almost.
No, you need a lot of mint for a mojito. Mojito is very mint forward.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the two drinks use different alcohols pretty much.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Thanks, Kyle. Kyle in there with some. The funny thing is, I've seen Kyle drink one beer, I think, maybe two, in the entire time that I've known him. And at the same time, he offered me a shot, and it was, what was the shot flavor that we had? It was like bacon. It was like bacon vodka or something.
What is this, 2010? What, like?
It was so good. It was delicious. Just, I forget what flavor it was. Kyle, remind me. But like that's that kind of stuff that you're going like, how do you get this wild shit? He's like, well, good, it's enjoyable.
I don't know what to.
So you think that you may have secretly found your niche happiness? I
guess so, or it's just like a good use of those skills in a position that's not so volatile. And
that's what it was. Peanut butter whiskey, super good.
Gross.
No, it was actually really tasty. Do you like peanut butter?
No.
You don't like peanut butter?
Not really.
Are you allergic to peanut butter?
Just kind of tolerate it most of the time. Like, I'll eat a PB&J, but I'm just like not really, whatever about it. My old roommate, so 2 apartments ago.
Yeah.
From that apartment, not the fog machine one, the other guy.
Before that, okay.
Well, no, it's the same 2 roommates.
Oh, okay.
It's not the fog machine guy. It was the boyfriend. Who I'm still friends with. So shout out to Zell if you're listening. But he fucking loves peanut butter, and he would get like a big jar and go through it like once a month, like clockwork. I don't know how he did it. Like, that was one of the questions he asked me when I was looking for new roommates. Was he was like, "Are you allergic to peanuts?" I'm like, "No, he knows good."
That's a lot of peanut butter, bro.
It's a lot of fucking peanut butter. Yeah, I don't know how he does it, but
so like Kyle goes through like a gallon of mayo every month. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
I like mayo. I don't like mayo that much.
Yeah, but Kyle eats at a different level of experience, right? Like,
yeah, Nutella and banana PB&J. I do like that a lot. That's a good combo.
Nutella and banana is greater than PB&J. So I'm not sure. I am a huge fan of both.
Yeah.
But like, if you have a great peanut butter and jam combo, and like you get good bread and stuff like that, I find that a Nutella banana is better on a crepe than a sandwich as well.
Mm.
It makes you feel because a Nutella banana sandwich is kind of like you're fancy slumming it, maybe.
Yeah.
Whereas Nutella banana crepe is like top tier douchery.
You know what it is? It's like Nutella banana is a lower ceiling but a higher floor. Like you can have a really shit PB&J, but you can also have like a better PB&J. Example, blackberry or raspberry jam is better than strawberry every time. And I will fight anybody who disagrees with
I'll
me.
definitely fight you. But the thing is, you know what? Strawberry jam is not what it used to be.
It's boring.
I don't know if it would be boring. Like, but I get like triple thick, like crazy strawberry jam. Like,
oh yeah,
like I get it from like Farmer Preserve weird shit.
Nah. Katie gets like just the regular ass, like, you know.
Also, grape jelly is a crime against humanity. Like it's weird, and I'm like, it's too jiggly and like stays in its shape where you're like, you don't necessarily have to spread it, you have to break it up.
Yeah, it's not very spreadable, which is a good point.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, there was an assignment we had to do for English that was you had to like write instructions on how to make a PB&J sandwich, and the teacher would follow it to the T. So if you said like, first you take the peanut butter and put it on the bread, and then the teacher would pick up the jar and then put it directly on the bread because it's like, that's what you told me to do. So it was like teaching you how to be descriptive, right?
That is a horrible teacher. Horrible.
Why?
Like, it's a good lesson. Horrible teacher. Like that person was a sadist. Like,
this was like 4th or 5th grade, so it's not like we're seniors in high school or anything. But
still.
That's a good one. I had a, like the fact that it's still sticking in my brain 20 years later.
It's a great lesson. Like realistically.
Thanks, Miss Greenbaum, wherever you are.
Kyle says peanut butter and Nutella for the win. I mean,
that's chaotic evil.
Like,
Kyle is chaotic evil.
100%. It's just a Reese peanut butter cup on a piece of bread.
Iced coffee with coconut milk, that's fine. I mean, like, especially if you're lactose intolerant, like, why not?
So I am good with coconut water. I am not a fan of coconut milk. Coconut milk.
I like the milk more than the water, to be honest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I find the water more refreshing, but I find it that Nutella and peanut butter is evil. I mean, why is it just because there's no technically no liquid to it? It's all
no, it's not that. It's that there's no, like, okay, so the point of PB&J is you have the like savory thing and the sweet thing, kind of.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no contrast. It's just all one thing.
And Nutella and peanut butter still have that contrast. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's there is I discussed this with a few people recently, was the whole idea like there is a huge amount of technique when it comes to sandwich making. I never asked you, did you bring your lunch to work?
A lot, yeah. There is a burger place nearby the school. So like there would be sometimes where I would go and get a burger, but not always. Most of the time I'd bring my lunch. Why?
Just wondering.
No. Yeah, Katie is pretty keen on like mate, pack my lunch for my husband, and I'm like, I appreciate that, but I also feel kind of bad because I don't want to fall into the pattern of like expecting my lunch to be made for me. And
fuck it. Just hey man, listen. You guys are in it for the long haul. If she says it makes her feel happy, you just let her do it. But you got to make sure that you do something to also make her happy. That's all you have to do. You have to match energy. That's all that is, right? I
did just go out and get us Chipotle before this, which was what this was. But
very smart.
Yeah.
Also, here's a hint, and this is for everybody out there, everybody who's watching, just so you know. Okay, the key to a happy relationship is randomly coming home with flowers. You never apologize with flowers. Ever, 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 ever. Flowers are to celebrate happy days. They are not to apologize for.
I
That
have a
isn't
similar philosophy with buying lottery tickets where it's like, oh, my day's doing great, buy a lottery ticket. No. Buy the lottery ticket when your day is shit because it either continues to be shit or you just turn your day around, mister. That's like
also true.
or misses. My money's on Atlas packing his own lunch by year 2. Who knows?
I
We'll see.
mean,
We'll see how that goes. Also, fuck
that's
you, Kyle.
that's
Like,
also not a nice thing to say, Kyle.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I
Fuck's
mean,
sake.
it's
And
the dynamic we have or something. I don't know.
also, all of my wife's friends that saw me open Victoria's door for her to get into the car, all of her friends say, "Oh, he'll stop doing that after 6 months." So we've been together coming up on 16 years, and I still do it. Yet none of those friends have lasted. So fuck you.
Yeah, you know the best part is like being a good husband or whatever, but you did it out of spite. Like there's a good like half of the stuff I do is just so I do better than my parents did.
I 100% live my life out of spite. Like I am still around. I am in better shape. I am progressively getting healthier, almost exclusively based on spite.
Yeah,
I'll
and then
freely admit that.
the last thing, the don't go to bed angry people, you're wrong. That is terrible advice. Go to bed. All right.
So like, is it good? It is good advice. It is a pain in the ass, and you know what? It's not the end of the world. The problem is usually when you sleep, you will forget about it and not bother in the morning. What you have to do is be relentless and make sure that you continue the conversation, so you ruin both of your days. That's
Yeah. I mean there's always that like old adage where it's like if you hate everyone, eat something. If you think everyone hates you, go to bed.
yeah.
Uh, similar ideas. Now the problem is that I'm the person who goes to bed and then forgets by the morning, and then Katie's like, "I'm holding on until the heat death of the universe. Have your coffee, and then we're hashing this out more." I'm like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, that's it. But that's you also are like avoid conflict, right? Like you're like, oh, is that a conflict? I'm going the other way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which I'm like, in all honesty, isn't bad quality, because that's just about like, I don't want to have to deal with this, right? Which is, but at the same time, like, if it's not if you're not going to suffer, then who cares? Like, okay,
I guess. I mean, this is. I married a woman who watches Black Mirror for fun and not for like the horrible implications of our society. She's like, this is nice. I like Black Mirror. Yeah. She'll do it and then just go to bed, and I'll be like, what the fuck did I just watch? Oh 100%, God.
Yeah. There's a what was it called? Not Sweet Tooth. I forget what it was. There was another one that was like Black Mirror, but it's even like worse and fucking terrifying. Fucking terrifying.
And I thought Black Mirror was like a worse Twilight Zone.
No. That's the that's like the PG. That's like, oh, that's on free cable, not on like the pay stuff where you're like, oh, there's yeah, it's
well,
it's
I'll
on
show you later. Netflix now, so I know they can curse and shit, but
yeah, well, listen, there's nothing more favorable than celebrating with a swear word. Hey, yeah, I wanted to ask you. You lasted the year. Did you swear in front of anybody or no?
Oh yeah, it came out a few times. I mean, part of the reason I picked the books I did was that there was swearing in them.
Nice.
Not the only reason, but
smart move. Be like, oh, it was in the book. What do you want?
It was in the book, yeah. And the idea I had for a through line was liars. Was like there is either an unreliable narrator or just like a character who lies out the ass all the time. So Catcher in the Rye, Holden kind of isn't telling you the truth the whole time. Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, Junior, the narrator, is just sort of, you don't really know if he's telling the truth. Yeah. He's all that. Othello, Iago, the villain, he lies to get what he wants.
Yeah.
So we do all that, and then one of my students goes, Mr. Novak, when you picked all the books that you did for this year, did you realize that all of them had prostitutes? I was like, no, I did not, but thank you for telling me. Yeah.
Now we know. Thanks for
now we
sharing,
know
everybody.
prostitutes are in everything or something. I don't know.
Great American literature has prostitutes, everyone. That's the moral of the story.
Well, let's see. American. I guess American. Junot Diaz is Dominican. Do with that what you will.
Close enough.
And then Shakespeare, which, British. But
I mean, listen, if it's not Mexican, it's American. Just take it. Yeah. Oh, it's the Caribbean. Yeah, it's American light. That's fine. Yeah,
it's did we subjugate it in the 19th and 20th century? It's American.
More the Dutch did than anyone else, so you're fine. That's fine. You don't have to feel guilty. It's okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're good.
So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Get ready for next week, where not only will my dad be coming back for Aspen Chronicles Part 3, not only is Greg coming back, but the field mouse, the often talked about powder blue suit, truck driving through the side of the house field mouse is coming on. So
this is gonna be mental. JD Salinger was Lithuanian. Was he really? Oh my god,
I didn't know that. But yeah, so get ready for that. If you like the show, leave a like, leave a comment, tell your friends.
Absolutely.
You can follow us at Generation Dan in all the places, or me at Atlas Novak in all those places.
We are currently streaming to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and as well on
Twitter too.
Twitter to 4 different
places. Someone will see it. Anyway,
everyone will see it everywhere.
Yeah, you can do that. You can also check out my show with Cole Clayton, Last Minute History. That's every other week. The new episode that we're taping this week is about Texas history, because last time we talked about the California Gold Rush. I'm Californian. Cole is from Texas.
There you
Figure
go.
It sort of fits. Or my other podcast at Nexus at Night. Okay, I'm done. Go.
No, what time is it tomorrow?
Oh, I don't know.
Because we do Life of Giants at 7:00 usually, and you guys normally go at 9. That's why.
Okay. I'm not sure because,
all right,
I'm not sure how it's all going to shake out, but just keep an eye on the social media. And then for people hearing this on Friday when it comes out on the RSS feed, then it's
shenanigans. We got you.
Yeah.
As well. So that's you can follow me if you're dealing with Jack Marvel. We have tomorrow is Life of Giants, which is at 7 p.m. on all of the social media as well with Kyle. Then on Tuesday we have Hammered and Cheese, which we are doing. I believe we're doing like bacon wrapped jalapeno popper type thing, and on like the barbecue. And then also we're doing, I believe. Let me see what drink it was. I think it was a mint julep. Let me see. Yeah, we're doing a mint.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be here. Let me just. I'm not sure if you guys can hear this.
I'm thinking a mint julep to go with the jalapenos. What do you think?
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah. So mint julep is what we're gonna be doing. And then, we'll go from there. So It should be an entertaining Hammered and Cheese. So come check it out, everybody, and we'll see you guys then.
All right, cool. See you guys next time.
Bye.